Welcome back to Rookie Watch. I'm Nose, and today we're starting the NFL career of Devontae Davis, the number 2 overall pick. I don't have high expectations for this Baltimore team. They've got some offensive talent, but the quarterback Dom Flynn is essentially Mitch Trubisky at the end of his time with the Bears, and the defense is completely lacking in identity. After wrapping up a good preseason in which he had 6 sacks, half of those against Jalen Hurts, Devontae Davis is getting an upgrade before his first game. I'm going to put probably all of these into Speed Rusher, just trying to get that finesse moves up, and unfortunately we're not going to get any here, which is a little annoying since when upgrading Eric Lamb last year, we got basically nothing but power moves for the first 4 upgrades. Can't complain about 7 total points though. Now you may recall that I mentioned last episode that there was a third quarterback projected in the first round, but I didn't know where he went. Turns out he went to the Colts, and we're going to see him in week 1. He went in the middle of the second round, and this looks like a really good get there. With normal dev at age 23, I think you'd be disappointed in the first round, but this is very playable for the second round. He's not very good under pressure, and he doesn't have a super high-end arm, but he's reasonably accurate, and he's got a lot of athleticism as well. Actually, I'm guessing he came out of the draft at 69, not 70. Still though, have to imagine he's got more upside than 30-year-old Desmond Ridder. I'm not going to take the time to go through the whole roster, but I will take a look at the right tackles each week since that will be our matchup, and we're going to be taking on Braden Smith, one of the best ones in the league. He is a little more focused on power and run blocking, but with the way the game handles pass rushing matchups, it still could be a tough day for Devontae Davis. Anyways, let's get into this thing. Anyways, as I've said, this is going to be a little more fast-paced and casual this season. Great first play in the career of Alexander Montague. He finds Judge, who was really good when we played against him as the Broncos last year. And that's a good pass rushing rep for Davis. Unfortunately, it's going to be completed quickly. I believe that's a Gore. The Colts are galloping down the field. They're at the 1-yard line. Davis threw quickly, but it doesn't matter. Touchdown Colts, and the first in the career of Montague. Baltimore answers back quickly. The Colts don't have a good defense, so this is one of our better chances for a win all year, and that was almost Montague's first pick. One of the first good pass coverage plays of the whole game. Marlon Humphrey can play man and zone, and then we've got one man corner and one zone corner, so I don't know what to do with him. Davis gets through here, and there's the first NFL sack for Devontae Davis. Rookie mistake there from Montague. Had some guys open that he could have checked down to. Instead, he trusts his legs and runs into a sack. All the way ahead to the third quarter now. Baltimore has fallen behind by 6 now. And Devontae Davis fights his way out of a double team and stops Jonathan Taylor for no gain. Really nice play. Later on this drive, he applies pressure and the pass is wildly off from Montague. He's known to miss when there's pressure bearing down on him. Here's the very next play. They're passing a lot for a team with a rookie quarterback in Jonathan Taylor. Davis got back there again, but Montague had Taylor wide open over the middle this time. Only 3 incompletions on the day so far. Looks like a run play on second down though. Davis has him in the grasp, and I think Roquan Smith just broke the tackle for JT. But the Colts ended up going for it on 4th and inches on that drive and didn't get it. Davis coming in hot, Montague gets it away, and he had Judge wide open downfield. Skipping ahead, 2 minutes left. The Ravens need to hold the Colts to a field goal at most here. They'll have to use all their timeouts and then try to score. But Taylor breaks this one outside. Cross can't make the play, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown. That'll put a pin in this one. 27-17, your final score. Rookie Montague definitely made some mistakes, but looked really good. The coaches came up with a great game plan for him. Dom Flynn was not good. Barely 50% completion percentage. We actually had pretty good run defense until the fourth quarter. Jarius Judge was all over us, just like in the game with the Broncos last year, and Gordon Bailey picked up 74 yards on 5 catches in his debut. Only 3 total tackles, 1 for loss, and a sack for Davis. By no means a bad debut. Montague just got the ball away really fast. Next we take on the Titans, who just lost to Jacksonville. Jacksonville was bad last year, but they were missing their quarterback most of the season. Meanwhile, it looks like it's still Trey Lance's team in Tennessee. I can't imagine that lasts longer than this year, but he'll be annoying to play the same way that Montague was. We also face another really good right tackle in Kevin Redmond. However, he matches up even worse with Davis, playing at 75 pass block, 72 pass block finesse, 68 run block finesse. But he's got a high enough overall that he'll have a few resistance bars to work with. Not my favorite mechanic in terms of execution. I like the idea though. In the first play, Davis is straight through, but it's going to be a first down for Fender anyways. And if you imagine that same play happening from different parts of the field, that's basically what this whole drive has looked like. in the red zone here, and that pass is straight to Roquan Smith. I don't know what Trey Lance was thinking. I don't think Smith will be able to outrun both Lance and Joshua Palmer, but he's going to get a long way, all the way down to the 22 before he's stopped. That feels like it could be a 14-point swing for Baltimore, and indeed they would get a touchdown out of it. But here's Tennessee right back in the red zone, 1st and goal, pinned off to Pollard left, and Devontae Davis coming from the backside of the play to clean up. Once again, that's not something we could have seen Lamb done. It is nice to be playing somebody who can make himself get a little involved, as there's another good run stop. Moving quickly in this one, Tennessee's not made the most of their chances, but they have a chance to tie as time winds down in the half, but Davis is through. He hit Lance like a train. Titans hoping for points still on this drive, but Lance is going to get buried again. I think that was Amari Jones. Ended up not really having anything to show in the whole 3rd quarter, but Baltimore has a 14-point lead now. Tennessee needs points on this drive, and there's Davis unblocked off the edge. Came a long way and still got to Pollard in the backfield. Tennessee's running low in time, still hasn't gotten back in the end zone. Davis almost had another sack, instead it's an incompletion. Lance missing wildly under pressure. He's going to take off and run this time, but he's hit by the rookie Phillip Chambers, and the ball comes out. It's in the hands of Roquan Smith. Strangely, the Ravens passed every play on the next drive, got into the end zone. So 35-14 is your final score. This one really got away from the Titans. Much better game for Dom Flynn, although he did get 70 of those yards on the final drive. Lance looked really good until they got into the red zone. Davis picks up another sack and another tackle for loss. 6 total tackles in this one as well. Pretty good game for him, just feels like the floodgates could open on the sacks if the defensive backfield could cover their guys for maybe 2.5 seconds. But we get the win anyways, and the Steelers are having a rough start to the season, so we're no longer in last place. However, we'll have to take on the Browns, who are tied for first. They just took care of the Colts and beat the Vikings in a close Week 1 matchup. At their helm is third-year quarterback Mike Stachelsky. He's developed into a pretty solid signal caller for him. Big arm at 94 throw power, quite accurate. Seems like he plays pretty well off script, and he's decently athletic to boot. You have to think it's going to be hard to bring him down before he finds somebody who's open. And despite primarily being a strong-arm quarterback, he's also pretty athletic. Davis's matchup this week will be Jimmy Oliver, a 2nd-year player, definitely the lowest rated so far. Not super strong, but his strength is in pass blocking and specifically finesse blocking. So I don't know if it'll really be any easier than our other matchups. We'll just build up a little bit less resistance, and maybe we can win more in the run game. Cleveland's put together a good drive to start the game. Stachelsky throws it up, and it's intercepted easily by Derek Tatum. Didn't like that he had a running back blocking Davis. He threw that ball way too early, straight to Tatum, skipping way ahead into the 2nd quarter now. Gap up the middle, but Davis comes over to fill it. Nice play for the rookie. Next play, 3rd down, 4 to go. Davis comes right through, forcing a quick pass, and it would be dropped by Treylon Burks. And then apparently he was offsides on the field goal, so they'll get a touchdown instead. Great. All the way into the 3rd quarter now. Baltimore has a 1-point lead. Davis getting double teamed here. Somehow he gets off of it and makes the play. The running back here is former Buck and Jet Michael Carter. He gets the ball here again, and he takes a hit from Phillip Chambers, the rookie. 2nd forced fumble for him in as many weeks. About 7 to go in this one. The Ravens still clinging to a 4-point lead. Stachelsky can't find anybody, and he's hit by Davis. He lost the football. It's just sitting on the ground. Chambers picks it up, and there's nobody there. He's going to get a touchdown. What a couple of games for the rookie. 2 forced fumbles and now a touchdown. Suddenly, it's a 2-score game. We find the Browns needing to go for it on 4th and 10. 6 minutes to go. Lots of time for Stachelsky. He's finally just going to lob it up. And you gotta be kidding me. Burks comes down with it. That's a 55-yard catch. They would get a touchdown and the 2-point conversion, but some poor game management near the end here. Stachelsky almost got sacked again. Instead, it's a throwaway. 3rd and 4, 58 seconds to go. All 3 timeouts. Davis comes over and stops Carter just short. They would get it on 4th down, but Stachelsky took a bad sack. Everything's been wrong with the clock management and play calling. They're going to hand it off here again. He'll get a couple, but Davis stops him once more, and the Browns miss a 58-yard field goal. That's going to end the game, and it seemed like they thought that they could get that no problem. They really should have been trying to get about 10 more yards. They were passing really well. Just not good coaching decisions. The Browns lose despite outgaining the Ravens by 200 yards. Stachelski was great besides randomly throwing it straight to Derek Tatum, and a late sack he took where he just stood there for a long time. Meanwhile, Flynn put up like 6 yards per attempt. Davis was pretty quiet early, but picked it up in the second half, and that sack fumble that turned into the touchdown obviously was the play of the game. Cleveland, though, they really brownsed this one up. And believe it or not, we're at the top of the division right now. The Bengals dropped their game, and we're the only team with a division win, so that gives us the tiebreaker. It definitely did not feel like we were playing winning football in that game, though. We really just got lucky, and the game management at the end, honestly, was really bad even for Madden. It's going to be a rainy one in Jacksonville this week, and that'll give us an excuse to take the ball out of Dom Flynn's hands. The Jags are off to a good start. They did lose to Jalen Hurts and the Seahawks in a close one, but this is definitely a good team. They're led by Sam Rhodes, who's back and healthy this year. 97 throw power for him. A little bit lacking in that medium accuracy, and not very good with play action for whatever reason, but really great on the run, under pressure. He's athletic, he's a good processor, all that stuff. Clearly, he's the most complete quarterback that we're facing so far. The right tackle this week is Jawan Taylor. He's not amazing, but he looks like basically a better version of the guy that we faced off against last week against the Browns. Although I think his run blocking might actually be worse. Jacksonville will start with the ball. It's going to be a pass. Davis is right in there. It doesn't matter. Chuck Schmidt has this one. He breaks a tackle, and he's up near midfield. This Jags offense is rolling early now. Etienne is rolling on the ground after he's knocked down by Devontae Davis. Nice play. And inside the 5, Davis gets to him once more. Good run defense so far this week for the rookie. Both teams have had long scoring drives. Jacksonville looks to have another one. And that almost looked like a replay of the last Davis highlight. First and 10 from the 11, an awkward looking throw from Rhodes, and that's straight to Marcus Williams. I cannot imagine why he did that, but it seems like once a game, opponents are just throwing it straight to Ravens players. So it's a 3-point lead for Baltimore. Rhodes is just going to chuck it downfield on 3rd and 17 with a little time left. And you gotta be kidding me. Schmidt came down with that one, but they're going to run out of time because they wasted a timeout earlier. However, they have taken the lead early in the second half. But another nice play by Davis. Etienne is just short and the Ravens will have a chance, but they won't, and they really haven't done much at all. Backup running back Dobson is in the game. He breaks a tackle and he's popped by Davis. Under 2 minutes to go now. This one's pretty much over. Baltimore managed to get one more touchdown, but they're pretty much out of time. There's one more nice play for Davis though. And the Jags are going for it on 4th down, which seems like the only way they could lose this game. Rhodes falls down in the pocket, gets back up, and still throws a touchdown to Schmidt. That's just rude. Final score is going to be 38-24. Rhodes was awesome in this game. Another awful completion percentage for Dom Flynn. Travis Etienne just ran all over us. He got a lot of carries and got a lot with him. Chuck Schmidt had almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, both in the 4th quarter. Of course, he also had the long, meaningless catch at the end of the first half. No sacks for Devontae Davis, but a lot of tackles. Only 1 TFL. I kind of thought he had more than that. I think the one in the 4th might have been credited to Jones, who actually missed the tackle there, and Davis was the one to clean up, but who knows? I could just be remembering wrong. We are going to get an upgrade for Davis here, and there's the +2 to finesse moves that I was looking for last time. That's a pretty nice upgrade for him. Still a game or 2 shy of having his dev trait unlocked. Up to 79 overall thanks to that upgrade, and it also gets his finesse moves up to 77, which is in the green. Game 5 will be against the San Francisco 49ers, and they're led by Brock Purdy. He's kind of noodle-armed in this, and he's pretty much setting a new Dalton line. We saw him last season with Eric Lamb, and he pretty much played as expected. Their right tackle is Najee McKee, and he's a run-blocking, power-type lineman, so this could be a promising matchup for Devontae Davis. I still don't really know how all these stats interact. And of course, Davis's finesse moves still aren't particularly high. Now, just as a reminder, the 49ers have taken 2 first-round edge rushers in the last 2 drafts, and both of them are not starting. At least the new guy has hidden dev, but 4th overall pick Tremaine Lacey still buried on the depth chart. The Ravens start the day with a long touchdown drive. San Francisco will try to answer, and CMC takes a hit from Davis, but he got the first down. Passing down, Davis is right into the backfield. Purdy has to rush the throw. It's almost picked, but the drive continues up to midfield. CMC is popped by Davis again. Not the most technical player, but that athleticism gets him all over the field. Jumping ahead a ways, we're tied up at 7. Lots of time on the play action for Purdy, but too much time. He goes down. There's another sack for Devontae Davis, and that's a rare coverage sack for Baltimore. Later in the second, 14-7 San Francisco. An excellent punt has pinned the 49ers at their own 1, and Davis is through, but couldn't make the play. That looked like a block in the back to me. Should have been at safety. Into the third quarter now, same score. Davis all the way around. He takes down Purdy. Second sack of the game in his first multi-sack game. I think he covered 20 to 25 yards there, and it would hold San Francisco to 3, but the Ravens offense still isn't doing much. Now a screen pass getting blown up, ball's on the ground, Tompkins has it. It was Amari Jones who laid the hit and forced the fumble, but Baltimore would only get 3 out of it. One score game in the fourth quarter, Davis almost has a sack, but Debo was wide open, way downfield, 3 seconds from snap to throw, and that's with a fake handoff in there. The coverage has got to do better than that. 3rd and 4 across midfield, Jones and Davis applying pressure. It was Jones who laid the hit, and Purdy sails that one out of bounds. Baltimore adds a field goal. I think they should have gone for it. It was 4th and 7 at the 25, so it's a tough decision. Lots of room up the middle. Davis makes the tackle on CMC, but he didn't really need much for the first down anyways. Baltimore has started using its timeouts. Only 2:35 to go, and here's Davis in the backfield. That's a big hit. Second timeout is called, and hopefully yet another big play by the rookie sparks some life into this defense and the offense as well, but they need this 3rd down stop, and they're not going to get it. Marlon Humphrey went for the ball and missed it. Debo's running wild all the way down to the 15. That would be a gain of 45 and effectively ended the game. They did also score a touchdown after that, 38 of 42 for Brock Purdy. Not a lot of resistance from the Ravens. Barely over 200 yards for Dom Flynn, no touchdowns, no picks. Decent completion percentage for once, but yards per attempt was still under 7 yards. Christian McCaffrey, we did kind of bottle up today. Davis had 3 or 4 nice tackles on him, including 2 tackles for loss and a 2-sack game, which was enough to get Player of the Week. Not sure why I went back for a second here, but 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, a handful of tackles. Apparently that was enough. There's not always a ton of competition every week. And by the way, we're just 4 snaps short of unlocking his dev trait. I did forget to show the 49ers schedule. They started with a pretty good gauntlet against the NFC East. Biggest loss was to the Eagles, who are probably the worst team in there. And next we're going to take on the Steelers. They went 14-3 last year and then 1 and done in the playoffs. 2-3 to start the year, but it's been a tough schedule. All of these teams were playoff teams last year, and they've all been 1-score finishes. Their offensive star is Najee Harris. He puts up a lot of volume. Their quarterback is Tua Tagovailoa. I'm kind of surprised that his throw power is that low, but all the other numbers look really, really good. And of course he's got some athleticism as well. The right tackle that we'll be facing is Clifton Pitts, and he's a really good pass blocker no matter who he's facing, but the run block could use some work. I think this is the first time Davis will face a guy like Pitts. What's really interesting about the Steelers roster though, here's their receiver room last year. They lost the top guy, Joey Drescher, to the Ravens actually. Not that he was super high rated. Also lost a couple backup tight ends. They lost the second guy, Eddie Gore. Johnny probably regressed and was a little better than a 67, but the only real signing they made was Javon Kitchen, who of course we remember from the Jets, but at 75 overall, he's now their highest rated player. Interrupting myself for a moment, here's a handoff to Najee, and he's taken down in the backfield by Devontae Davis. Nice tackle around the legs, and he probably should have been blocked. That brings up 2nd down, and they don't learn from their mistakes. Davis is through unblocked again. It's going to be 3rd and 12. I'll get back to my commentary on the receivers in a moment, but for now, 3rd down. Davis getting into the backfield again, but Tua gets it away. It's Javon Kitchen who stays in bounds. Man, does this team have problems. Look, even the coach has problems. So Kitchen is actually the number 2 receiver. They've got a young 74 overall who's in the number 1 spot. But there's Kitchen again. It's a touchdown for the Steelers, and they take an early lead. Baltimore responds with a field goal. Steelers have the ball back. Huge hole up the middle for Najee Harris, but a great leg tackle by Devontae Davis. And now skipping ahead towards the end of the half, the Steelers have called their last timeout. They're at the 10-yard line with 13 seconds, and they're going for it, so I guess they're going to try to throw it to the end zone, but it's not. It's their first-round pick from last year, Eric Brooks, underneath, but the tight end goes down inbounds, and they run out of time. They'd already managed that drive really poorly in terms of clock management. Probably could have had a chance at 7. Instead, they won't even get 3. Now, unfortunately, I had to pause the recording during the 3rd quarter. I apparently forgot to unpause it, and between those 2 events, things got absolutely wild in this game, so I don't have the live replays to show you, but I figured it out soon enough to go back and watch the highlights, and it all starts with this play. A little over a minute to go in the 3rd. Tua and the Steelers are pinned deep after a good punt. He can't find anybody open. Davis gets to him. Tua breaks the tackle. but Juan Tompkins would clean it up. Here it is from another angle. On the ensuing drive, the Ravens would get into the end zone and get the 2-point conversion. So now it's 19-10 Ravens. 8:20 to go in the game. This is second down. Nobody open for Tua and he's swarmed. It's another sack for Devontae Davis. A 10-yard loss that would lead to fourth down. Tua misses the throw. Marlon Humphrey picks it off. 2.5 to go. It's 30-10 Ravens. And Tua throws away a drive straight into the hands of Phillip Chambers. He would run this one all the way back to make it 37-10. This one just went completely off the rails for Pittsburgh. Sorry about the snag on the recording there. Hopefully that was a good enough summary. The Steelers are just trying to put together one last drive to make things look a little better, but it's 4th and 5 and knocked away. An unexpectedly huge win in this rivalry for Baltimore. The sequence to end the first half was kind of the first misstep for the Steelers, but they held on for a while. It was a pretty boring third quarter until that safety, and then things went completely off the rails. Tua played really well up until he didn't, which was pretty much after that play. Of course, the first interception was on 4th and 10, and the second one, the game was pretty much over. 2.5 sacks for Devontae Davis. I think he had another in the third that I missed when I was recapping. And despite Tua breaking the sack on the safety, the game did give it to him instead of Tompkins. 28-0 in the second half, a complete meltdown for the Steelers. Don't know if they'll be a playoff team this year. Meanwhile, another +2 to finesse moves for Devontae Davis, and the reveal, he is a superstar. If you think about it long term, a guy who is really athletic but unpolished is going to do great as a superstar. You're always going to get plenty of upgrades to finesse moves and such, but you're not going to get a lot to athleticism. For his ability, I wanted to give him BOGO. It seems like it might actually be really strong for when you're actually playing the games. We did have a challenge against Najee Harris that we didn't get, and Phillip Chambers is player of the week. His one big play was total garbage time. He's been great. I just think Davis deserved it more. 2.5 sacks, I think 2 TFLs, and the safety. And the safety, of course, was the go-ahead score and really turned things around. I'm just going to go for the bonus XP here, even though I'm pretty sure this would violate the CBA. I just want to get that much closer to more upgrades for Davis. And here's what I've been waiting for. It's time to take on Chris Hargrove and the Jets. They reverted to being bad last year, and they're kind of back and forth so far this year. Most of their losses by 1 score, except for one blowout to the Jags. Hargrove is up to a 95. We left him at a 91 or 92, so that's not great development, but it's a little slow when you're this high. He does still have his X factor despite not having a great year last year. And the short accuracy is the only thing that stands out. It's a little low compared to his other accuracies. And I think that's because strong arm has been the upgrade of focus for him. Not putting up huge numbers this year, but the interception rate is low. Completion percentage is actually low, sub 60%. Never like to see that. But I think Breece Hall is already having a really good year, so that's part of that. Jamil Barrett is still the right tackle. You might remember him. Might struggle in run blocking against Davis. Should be okay in pass protection, though. And a quick check on the number 5 overall pick, Paul Cunningham. He is normal dev. Not sure if I knew that. Very much a speed rusher type. What's interesting is that the archetype is actually pass coverage. I'm pretty sure that they were a 3-4 when we were there playing with Hargrove. He does have 4 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. That seems like a pretty good start. But anyways, apparently they are 4-3 cover 3, the same as what the Ravens are running right now. So maybe they hired a new defensive coordinator and that changed? I'm not really sure how that works. They are 91 on offense though, so we've left them in a good place. And Dom Flynn is also going to put the Jets offense in a good place. He's picked off deep in home territory by last year's first round pick, Brandon Florence, the safety, and somehow Hargrove fit that in. Roquan Smith thought that he had an interception. Davis flying around the edge, but Hargrove completes it. That's John Mechie, a free agency pickup for the Jets last year. Skipping ahead, Davis is in the backfield, but can't make the tackle on Hall, and neither can Roquan Smith. He's dragged downfield. Now 14-3 Jets. They have the ball again, but it's another good punt by Ryan Stonehouse. Handoff to Hall, and Davis does not miss this time. No safety, but he lays the big hit. Now late in the half, it's 14-6, and Devontae Davis will end any hopes of more points before halftime. He sacks Chris Hargrove, got in there like a missile. And this is part of what I was so excited about for this series, was seeing a Rookie Watch player against an alumni of the series. Hargrove may be outplaying the Baltimore defense so far, but Devontae Davis is gonna get his. The Jets would run out the half after that, but they're back in plus territory here in the third quarter. It's a play fake for Hargrove. Davis is coming through, but Hargrove connects with Garrett Wilson, and there's a flag down. I wonder if Davis came in too hot. Might be roughing the passer, but no, it's going to be a face mask. Not even sure how Sloan got a hold of the face mask. And this is what Madden thinks a bull rush win against a running back looks like. 21-6, Jets have the ball again, but Davis makes a play, trying to remind the game that he's a lot bigger than Breece Hall. Jets have another first down, and Davis is through. He's going to soak him up. Good recovery by Barrett, but Davis makes the tackle anyways. Skipping ahead, it's the fourth quarter, and the Jets have let Baltimore get back into this one. And the comeback may continue with a tackle for loss by Davis on second down. And indeed it would. It's 22-21 Baltimore. They did not get the 2-point conversion, but got the touchdown. Hargrove nearly got sacked by Davis again, but they keep things moving. They're into field goal range. Probably a little more worried about the time left on the clock than anything else. Jet sweep to John Mechie is an interesting call, and he's hauled backwards by Davis. The Ravens call their second timeout, but would allow a first down. Out of timeouts, this game is pretty much over, and Leon Culliver is going to run up the middle for the touchdown. Not sure if maybe the Ravens just let him score. It is probably their best chance at this point. Jets will go for 2. Hargrove looking to throw. He has Samuel over the middle, but he's going to be swarmed, but not enough time for Baltimore. They do get pretty far downfield, actually, all the way to the 32, but needed a touchdown, could not get it. It was an admirable effort, but the comeback fell short. Pretty good yardage for Dom Flynn today, but under 60% completion. Again, I don't know how he does that so much. Chris Hargrove looked really good. I don't know why the sim doesn't seem to give him numbers. It might be that they're just really run heavy, although Breece Hall only had 3 yards a carry today. Big day for Mark Andrews. Hargrove and particularly Wilson's numbers would have been better today, but the Ravens got more catch knockouts than I think they have all season today. I think there were 4 on Wilson alone, only 1 counted as a drop, but there were a lot of them. Obviously, the CPU doesn't really know how to use the way we did. They don't seem in general to get a lot of deep shots. The receivers always hard cut after they catch the ball, and they don't seem to use the sprint button. A ton of tackles for Davis in this one, albeit 7 were assists, but 2 for loss and a sack. That's a good day. Cunningham picked up half a sack, by the way, and I didn't really have time for this during the game highlights, but a big reason for the comeback was that twice the Jets went for 60-plus yard field goals. Neither were anywhere near close, and the Ravens ended up scoring 10 points off of them. The CPU in this game is often not bright. But the Jets do get back to 500, and Baltimore falls under 500. Third place in the division due to a tiebreak with the Steelers, although they'd actually dropped to 3-5 after this. And guess what? We're taking them on again. Loser is in last place, and the Steelers want some revenge. This time it'll be at Heinz Field. No, I will not call it Acrisure Stadium. The Bengals, by the way, have jumped out in front. They are 7-1. We'll see them at the start of the next episode. We've got 2 games left to go in this one, including this rematch against the Steelers. Only a couple games since we last played them. They split a couple games in the NFC North, and you can ignore that played twice. I think I just had to fix a playbook or something like that. Now, before our last game against the Steelers, I did talk about how depleted their receiver room was, but I didn't show it. Javon Kitchen, now up to 76, highest rated player in this room. James Overeem is kind of just a guy. They've got 2 second-year players. One's a future starter, one's a day 1 starter. Felton is a little better. And what's interesting, he was actually a 6th-round pick, while the other guy was a 3rd-round pick. Does have a Pro Bowl appearance, apparently, but I looked through, and he has no stats in anything. Apparently, he won it as a punt returner, even though he didn't actually do that. So that's just Madden for you, I guess. Do be on the lookout for Felton, though. He's got 97 speed, 98 acceleration. And the Ravens got the ball first in this one. They lead 3-0. And speaking of speed and acceleration, there's Devontae Davis with a sack right away on Tua Tagovailoa. Skipping ahead to the second quarter, the Ravens are already up 10-0. And nobody's blocking Davis. He's flying in again. He takes down Tua, 2nd sack of the game. It's going to be 3rd and 16. You have to imagine that's a drive killer. They did get in position to kick a really long field goal, though. I don't know that I love their odds from 60, but might as well try. And he's actually going to hit this kick. Props to him. Whoever he is, I kind of forgot his name, but it's 17-3 now. Perhaps revenge is not on the menu. Of course, plenty of time to go in this one, and this could be a scoring drive. 3rd and 10 at midfield, 1.5 minutes to go. All 3 timeouts still. And Tua just threw it right to Roquan Smith. Last time it was the 3rd quarter safety that turned the game on its head, and Tua played much worse after that. He's coming out of the gate not playing that well today. Ravens are up 24-3 now, 28 seconds left in the half. They scored very quickly. More pressure on Tua, but he gets it away, and Felton is wide open. He's across midfield. The Steelers would end up getting 3 off of that. Now in the second half, there's Felton again. It was a 0 blitz, and he's gone. He beat Sloan on a simple slant, and there was no way anybody on this defense was going to be able to catch him. Suddenly, this game's looking a lot closer. especially with Baltimore unable to answer. Perhaps a comeback brewing, but Devontae Davis has something to say about that. He levels Najee Harris, who's been really hard to bring down today, despite what you may see on the stat line. There's another quick slant to Felton, and Humphrey completely missed the tackle. Cross isn't going to get him, and he's got another long touchdown. 66 on the first drive of the half, 52 on the second. Now they'll be able to go for 2 and try and make it a field goal game. It's going to be a handoff to Harris, but Davis is unblocked on the backside. He's going to get all the way over there to make the play. And the Ravens got back into the red zone, but Dom Flynn was intercepted. Third quarter winding down, and Devontae Davis makes a shoestring tackle. Not easy to do on Harris. Scoring would stall for a while. The Ravens would threaten again, but another red zone pick for Dom Flynn, and Devontae Davis is cleaning up the mess. Tua has to turtle, and all the Ravens needed to do was run the clock out, but they got -8 yards on the drive, and after a bad punt with a good return, the Steelers get it at Baltimore's 40. Baltimore received the punt at their own 23, and Pittsburgh is already almost there. Now they're well past it, inside the 10, and now they can start thinking about slowing this thing down. A minute 24 to go. Davis applying pressure on 1st and goal. Good job to pick up 4, but now it's 3rd and goal from the 5. All 3 timeouts remain for Pittsburgh. Tua is looking to throw. Plenty of time. He fires to the back of the end zone, but Javon Kitchen didn't get his feet in. They are going to review this. No harm in doing so. You want to make sure you got the call right, but that second foot is pretty clearly out of bounds. Ball's in his hand, 1 foot down, second foot well out, and they just overturned this. Are you kidding me? Scott Jackson livid on the sidelines. Devontae Davis livid on the field, but it's not going to matter. The Ravens couldn't even get a first down, and the Ravens have finished blowing a 24-3 lead. Tua was really good after that first interception. Obviously, the 2 long touchdowns helped. One of them was that double A gap mid-blitz, which I loved a couple of Maddens ago. It used to be cheese due to some blocking issues. They fixed that, and now it's just really good when they don't have an extra blocker in. Unfortunately, it does catch you for some long touchdowns. The second one was just cover 1, which has worked pretty well for us, but Humphrey made a bad play, and I guess that one was actually Kitchen. They were kind of hard to tell apart. Dom Flynn was actually really good, aside from the 2 interceptions, which were just super killer. If we'd gotten a field goal on either of those, we would have won. 3 sacks for Alex Highsmith, 3 for Devontae Davis, and 2 TFLs as well. A really good game despite the result. And 1 or 2 of those were on the double A gap blitz. It just didn't work out for us once. It's just a fun play. I like to call it occasionally when the Ask Coach suggests it. Unfortunately, we did not complete the sweep. Revenge game successful for Pittsburgh, and 10 morale seems a little harsh, but Devontae Davis is going to get another upgrade, plus 2 finesse moves, up to an 81 there now, so that's really starting to come along after only getting 2 on, I think, our first 2 upgrade points. Pass protection, apparently an issue for us lately. Of course, Highsmith just had 3 sacks, as I mentioned. Just based on overalls, the offensive line is pretty good. It is a little bit piecemeal as far as archetypes go, but I'm just going to blame the quarterback because I'm really mad at Dom Flynn because he sucks. So now he's going to suck a little more, so maybe not the best call. The last game today is against the Seahawks. They had a gauntlet to start the season. We're all playoff teams last year. The 2 that they beat were the teams in the Super Bowl. Got a little break with bad Colts and Rams teams sandwiched around a bye and then lost to the Patriots. So they're a good team who's had a tough schedule so far. They are half a game back in their division. But if you ask their fans, I'm sure they'd say they're getting into the part of the schedule where they can get a bit of a run going. They are led by one of the better quarterbacks drafted in this series, Carson Johnson, 94 throw power, really good on the run and under pressure, not great play action, and the medium accuracy is a notable deficit. This does tend to happen just because of the way that the CPU upgrades its players. They'll only do the top archetype. And they've got a real bridge player in Ronald Foster at right tackle. His finesse ratings are good, the base run block and pass block aren't that good. They'll probably be okay against Davis, certainly won't be an 8-sack day or anything. Houston gets the ball first here in Baltimore. 10 seconds into the game, they've already got a 3rd and 10. Carson Johnson reading the defense and not reading it well. He's picked off by Derek Tatum. He's got some grass in front of him. He's going to take this one all the way back. And it's another touchdown for this Baltimore Ravens defense. They have been thriving on turnovers. Let's see how long they can keep it up. Oh, not long, I guess. Houston's already down to the 6-yard line. Been a pretty milquetoast drive, not a lot to show on it, but Dameon Pierce is going to go right up the gut. It's a tie game, and the Texans are going to get it right back. Running on 2nd long, Devontae Davis comes all the way around to help keep that to a short gain, but they would convert. 2nd and 2 in plus territory. A little motion here. Trickery here. It's a handoff to Bryan Edwards, and he's blasted by Davis, loses the ball. He's got Green in front of him, but Davis stumbles. Get up, big man, run! And he's going to be taken down by Courtland Sutton, the former Bronco. Nice quick little shed here by Davis. He's going to run right between two other blockers, and I don't know why he fell. I thought it was going to be a touchdown, but forcing a fumble in the backfield, picking it up, and getting a little return, that's a pretty nice play. He looks happy about it. But the Ravens missed a 39-yard field goal, and yet maybe it won't matter. Roquan Smith picks it off. Red Johnson's eyes perfectly on that third down, and the Ravens offense will get another chance. This time they'll take advantage of it. Texans are looking to respond. Coverage is good. Looks like Johnson's going to try to show off his wheels. Davis chasing him down, and he wraps him up short of the first down marker. Texans would convert later on that drive, under 2 minutes to go. Davis coming up the middle, but he's picked up by Pierce, and Edwards is going to be close to another first down. 2nd and inches. Good coverage again. Johnson looking to escape outside, and he does. Inside the 5 and chased down by Davis again. Arguably the Texans' best wide receiver is Courtland Sutton, who's 34. But don't forget about the tight end, Jake Butler. What a catch over Cross. It's a tie game going into the second half, but things have been pretty quiet to start the third quarter. Here's this goofy end around again, but Davis is picked up by the pulling guard. So instead of fumbling in the backfield, Edwards just gets nothing. The Texans have put a drive together though. Here's Edwards open over the middle, and he'll fight into the end zone. Marcus Williams unable to take him down, and the Texans have their first lead. It would not last long. Baltimore responds, and Devontae Davis is not fooled by the play action. He's got a sack, his first of the day, and we'd remain tied for a while. Approaching the 2-minute warning, still all knotted up at 21. Time running out for Johnson. He gets outside, looking for somewhere to go. He gets it away at the last moment, and it's dropped by Darius Slayton. Jumping ahead, the Texans are on the logo, but it's 3rd and 10. Davis coming around the edge, unblocked. He's in there fast, and he's got himself another sack. Now the Ravens call a timeout, but they'd be unable to get anything, so we go into overtime. Houston has the ball first. It's 3rd and 3. They're going to try a run play, and Pierce is bodied by Devontae Davis. What a game he's having. Ravens offense given a chance to win it, but they also go 3 and out. And the Texans now possibly facing another one. Offense has really dried up in this game, but Courtland Sutton will convert. He's got 16 yards. And a couple of plays later, Houston on the 48. Last time they were here, it was a Davis sack. Here he comes again, but a flag is thrown, and they're going to get him on a face mask. How do you even commit a face mask penalty at that angle? He's got a clean shot at him, and Johnson just kind of ducked into his hand. I don't know how that can possibly be Davis's fault. It's a bad break for him. He's going to make up for it with the tackle for loss here. No third down conversion for the Texans this time, but they have a chance at a 54-yard field goal. It's tailing right, but it is just through. It caressed that crossbar and went in. Tough loss for the Baltimore defense. Not a good day for either quarterback. Bad efficiency and 2 picks for Johnson. Meanwhile, Dom Flynn was 13 of 29 for 158 yards. That's atrocious. This game was really even the whole time, though, just because of defense, really. 3 sacks, 3 TFLs, a forced fumble, and a recovery for Davis. A monster game, but it's going to go unrewarded. Well, except for a Player of the Week award. Kind of expected this one to go to Tatum with the way that the game rewards defensive touchdowns, but I think part of that is just getting a turnover, and Davis had one of those as well. Aiden Hutchinson, by the way, with 4 sacks. That was against Greg McLaughlin, by the way. Packers came away with a win in that one. And Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns. He's having a crazy season. We'll see him next time. Pretty gaudy numbers for him. He's averaging 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, essentially. Just going to scroll through these stats really fast. You can pause them if you want to look closer. But I did want to pick out some old friends. Rosie's off to a great start. That ratio would have been unthinkable at the start of last season, 70% completion percentage, and only a little under 300 yards a game. Chris Hargrove's numbers don't look amazing, but certainly better than the confusingly bad year he had last year. Justin Fields is having a really good year, by the way, although not a lot of volume on yardage. And Dom Flynn is under 60% completion percentage on the season, so is Justin Herbert. Looks like Dak Prescott is currently injured. Dom Flynn has the 3rd worst passer rating in the league. He's pretty close to Kevin Blackman. The worst is Alex Montague, the rookie, who has 12 touchdowns to 15 picks. Devontae Davis leads the league in sacks at 14.5. Aiden Hutchinson actually just gained one on him with that 4-sack game. Chase Young is actually at 13 or so. He was leading before this week, but I guess he doesn't have enough tackles to show up on this list. Davis, one of a handful with 2 forced fumbles. Lamb obviously expected to have a lesser year when not controlled by us, but 6.5 sacks, 5 TFLs, decent number of tackles. He's doing just fine. The Bengals right now are the best team in the league, 9-1. Their only loss was to the Vikings in week 3. They did just have a scare against the Dolphins, but pulled it out. That was an overtime win as well, I believe. A bunch of those this week. Steelers are clawing their way back into the playoff race. Texans did take the lead in the AFC South with their win over us this week. The Titans are really struggling this year, actually. And Montague's Colts are really struggling. Half of their wins are against yours truly. I suppose we've actually played this whole division. Titans are the only one we beat. The Patriots are regaining their hold on the AFC East. They lead it again after winning 5 straight. The Dolphins have lost 5 straight and are the worst team in the NFL despite having reigning Rookie of the Year Brett Bailey. The Broncos are still one of the top teams in the NFL, 7-2, would be the 2 seed if the season ended right now. The rest of the division is pretty mid. The Bears lead the NFC North, Vikings nipping at their heels a half game behind. The Packers jumped the Lions in the standings with a win over them this week. Greg McLaughlin seems to have them firmly out of the toilet. The Lions, meanwhile, have lost 5 straight. The other Blue Cat team, the Panthers, are atop their division at 5-4 but have lost 3 straight. Pretty surprised that the Bucs struggles, although they do have a tough schedule, and more so by Lamar Jackson's Falcons at 3-6. Herbert Saints at 2-7 should be surprising, but we have never seen them be good, I don't think. Jeremiah Edwards and the Giants are atop the NFC East. 7 straight losses for the Cowboys. I'm assuming that's how long Dak has been out, or approximately so, and they're certainly taking advantage of it in New York. Eagles certainly missing Jalen Hurts, whose Seahawks lead the NFC West once again. They did just get upset at home by the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. They've had a vice grip on this division for what seems like a while now, though, so I wouldn't expect the 49ers to catch them. That's going to do it for the first episode with Devontae Davis. A lot going on in this episode. I know it was long and action-packed, but it was fun to make and put together. At 3-6, a playoff push seems pretty unlikely, but if we have some really good games and that changes, I might consider splitting the second half of the season into 2 episodes. Most likely, though, it'll all be one big video, and I'll either shove the season recap into the end of that video if there's time, or I'll do it at the beginning of the video for the next offseason and draft. Till then, thank you so much if you've gotten to this point. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.